Me and my friends often talk about, well, I wouldn't say often, but it's been the topic of discussion quite a few times. And that is, how long do you continue to blame your parents for, for the way your life is turning out? And my personal opinion, while I do believe in cycles, I think once you've reached a certain level of adulthood, that the decisions you make are ultimately the deciding factor of how your life turns out. Can you be 40 years old still blaming your father for abandoning your mother? Or you accept that it happened, you may forgive or not, but what does that actually have to do with the decisions you're making? For example, at 40, I personally don't think there's any excuses. And I get cycles, but that's really just a cop out, in my opinion. I don't think I even got up. MFing fork. It's okay, I can use my hands. So, ooh, it's still piping hot though. So, it's kind of what I want to discuss. I've, being truly introspective, I was thinking of how, if any way, did not having a father figure in my life, or having the person that I did in my life, and when I say in my life, I'm speaking specifically of adolescence, affect me as an adult woman. Well, these people are so hit and miss. I don't feel like this potato is. Anyway. My father, I loved him like most daughters love their fathers. He and my mother were together a very short time, long enough to procreate, which would be me. And they were young. She was young. Not teenager. She was, my mom was 20 when she got pregnant with me. From what I hear, the relationship was very tumultuous. She had grew up in Newport News, Virginia, and went on a trip with a girlfriend to Jersey, where she met my father in a bar. And what I hear is that it was love at first sight. The interesting part about it, I have a sister. Her mother and my mother look a lot alike. Her mother passed away. She's deceased. Not too long ago. But her mother, when I first saw her mother, and when I saw pictures of her in her youth, I was like, I see exactly why it was love at first sight, at least for him, because they look alike. And my sister and I look a lot alike too. We look just like my father, and there are pictures in which sometimes I double take because I don't know if it's her or me. Anyway, so they had this relationship. It was a violent one, from what I heard. For a couple of years, I was created, and then what was told to me is that my mother escaped and took a bus back into back to Virginia, where my grandma and my grandfather and her siblings were. Apparently, my mother and my father fought a lot. Anywho, so I my I had a relationship with my father in which he'd visit and he'd call and other communications. Um, and I remember him just always being present. So where he may not have been physically in the same place that I was, he was there. He was there. My father has been dead for decades now. He died December 29th. I found out on my birthday. Obviously I would never forget on December 30th. I think that was the first time I ever seen my grandma cry. I had seen my mom cry. It's the first time I ever seen my grandma cry. But, anywho, but up until then, he would call what felt like regularly. I was a small child, and so I can't even say for sure how often he was calling or visiting because